So we're joined all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, by my girl, Myla Mims, real estate expert, content creator, notary public there in North Florida. We thank you so much for taking some time for us today. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. We are also being joined by my friends over at Germantown High School and Ridgeland High School, and recording this for all of our friends in Madison County Schools, Madison Central, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So obviously, you're such a cool story, and you've gone ultra viral on several social media platforms
Mhm.
about being. And I know you're 20 now, but you were 19 years old as a licensed real estate professional in the state of Florida, creating content, getting millions of views, millions of shares, and you were running a business. And
Mhm.
talk about that because so many young people tell me, well, I want to get a real estate license. And then I explain to them a few things and their jaws drop and they have these their eyes get big because they're like, I had no idea it worked like that. So
Mhm.
I know it is very similar in the state of Florida as it is in Mississippi. Take us
Mhm.
through, first of all, your decision to not go to college and then
Mhm.
go straight into business, but also kind of how the licensing process works and then how do realtors make money?
Okay, so we're gonna start off on how I even got started in the first place. I graduated high school in 2024. Right after I'm not gonna lie, during school, I knew that I wasn't gonna go to college. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a big school person. So I was like, I have to find me a different route that'll work for me. But I also wanted to be a teacher. So I love kids. I'm a very nurturing person. So that was a big thing for me. I'm like, I was battling between, okay, do I want to go to college and pursue being a teacher, or do I want to? My mother, she's a builder, so I already kind of had a little bit of experience of like the real estate field, not exactly being a real estate agent, but houses and things of that sort. So it was really like, do I want to take the real estate path or do I want to become a teacher? So right after high school, I joined an organization called City Year. It's a nonprofit organization, and what they do is they go inside classrooms and it's like a group of different people at a whole bunch of different schools around the city, and they go inside these classrooms and they work on behavioral, emotional support, learning and academics, things like that. So that was, and mind you, we were there 50 hours a week in those schools. So that was an experience, you know. So that for me, that was like, okay, do I want to pursue the lane of teaching or do I want to get into the real estate? And I mean, obviously I'm here now, so so we didn't go to the teacher route. But it was still good. It also helped me within my real estate field because, being having to problem solve for children and communication. There's a lot of things with like different teachers that, just having to communicate, which is a big, big thing when you are in real estate. Relationships and communication is like so, so, so important. So fast forward then, I ended up graduating from City Year, and during City Year, I was taking my real estate course. So while I was there, we had how the school day works was, of course, it's a regular school day. Then at the end, we had like a 2 to 3 hours to ourselves to, lesson plan, things like that. So those 2 to 3 hours, I was working on the course. So when you become a real estate agent, the process is you find a course. I know they have courses that you can go inside of
Yeah.
like different schools and things like that, or you can do an online course, self-paced course. I
Yep.
chose the self-paced course due to, again, I was working 50 hours a week, so I was like, I don't have time to go inside somewhere and learn. So I did the self-paced course. I would recommend it. Honestly depends on what type of learner you are. If you are a visual learner like me, if you need someone to be like, you need to do this, this, and that, I recommend doing the in-person course. Now, if you're, depending on what you have going on as well. But I took the self-paced course. I'm not gonna lie, I had some difficulty because again, I'm a visual learner. I need somebody actually teaching me. So it was a lot of learning. Okay, how can I retain this information? I did flashcards, which I didn't think were gonna help, but they actually did, surprisingly. So I used flashcards, Quizlet. I don't know if you guys use Quizlet. I know when I was in school, we were using Quizlet, but I used Quizlet. Literally just searched up. Um, what did I search up? Like the Florida real estate exam. Literally, that's all I searched up, and like a whole bunch of test exam, practice exams came up. That was a big one. And there's also someone called Prep Agent. I literally used to, in the morning before work, I used to play his videos. He had webinars and he was just going over vocabulary. And right before the person would say what it means, I would, say what it means first before they did. So that's how I kind of retained a lot of the vocabulary as well. So you go through the course and then there's an end of course exam. So that's the first exam that you take. It
Yep.
usually goes along with the course. And then
Yep.
there's a state exam. There's
Yep.
also it's another exam, but I didn't take that exam. I forgot what it's called. I think it's the national exam, something like that. But it's the state exam and your end of course exam.
Yep.
So at the end of course exam, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. For me, the test isn't hard. It's not hard at all. You just have to know your vocabulary. Like that's a big, big thing. Know your vocabulary. The test doesn't tell you anything about what you're gonna actually be doing when you become a real estate agent. It's literally just like the laws and regulations, and it is some things that you are gonna have to know when you're actually a real estate agent, but I didn't know what I was prepared for.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point because
yeah.
yeah, you're right. Same way in Mississippi, you take the class, then you take the
Mhm.
licensing exam for the state, then you get sponsored by a broker. Now, I have kids all the time say, well, that means I start getting paid, right? Absolutely not.
Mhm.
So you learn the business and
Mhm.
talk about after that because you got to get sponsored by the broker, then you're basically on your own.
Right. Yes. So after you take the exam and everything, just to be transparent, y'all, so you needed a 75 to pass, right? I got a 73 out of 75 twice, y'all. Two times. I got a 73 out of 75. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, yeah, if I fail this again, I'm not taking this test again. But luckily I passed. So that was a good thing. But yeah, so the process is so after you take the exam and everything, in Florida they don't require you to be sponsored under a broker.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, they don't require that here, but I do know in a lot of other states, especially a lot of people I talk to, that is a requirement.
Yeah, that
So
is a requirement in Mississippi.
yes. So after I took the test and everything, now it's, finding a brokerage firm. So who do I want to get who, do I want to be in contract with? Basically your brokerage, when you guys become a real estate agent, your brokerage, if you sign with them one day and then you decided this isn't for me, you're not stuck with them, if that makes sense. You can literally sign with them one day and leave the next day. Not saying you should do that, but like you're not when you guys if anyone that is interested in becoming a real estate agent, don't feel like you're stuck with anybody because you're not. So you get signed on a brokerage firm. There's a lot of fees, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of fees first starting out. You have NAR, the realtor, um, the actual what
National
a real
Association of Realtors.
yeah,
Yep.
actually, what the realtor is, so when you become a realtor agent, you don't automatically get that realtor title. That's something totally separate. Okay, you have to pay those fees to join the association. So that's a whole nother thing. There's also a lot of different brokerage firms. They have fees. A big thing to know is when you come in, don't worry about how much you're going to be getting paid because you'll see a lot of brokerage firms they'll give you 100% commission. We have discount brokerages where they'll do like 0.002% of your commission. You have some people who they'll give you 70, keep 30. When you first start, you want to learn as much as you can. So what I recommend, which I didn't do this at first, but what I would recommend to other people is go to a brokerage, forget about how much you're going to be getting paid. You want to go to a firm that's going to be teaching you, mentoring you if possible, as much information because when you first come in, you're not gonna know anything. My mindset coming in, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I just need to pass this test. Like that's where my head was. I didn't know a month after, like what the next step was for me because I was just like, I just need to pass this test. So going in, I was very blindsided. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like it was a lot, but I figured it out myself. But I don't want y'all to do that. I want y'all to have people that will help you. If there are mentorship opportunities, take those. If you have to shadow other agents to get you started, do that. There are agents that will have you that will let you shadow them during meetings, consultation calls, all of that. So take advantage of all of those things, y'all, because if not, you going in, I'm telling y'all, it's a saying that they say of like it's like 10, I'm just say 10% of realtors make it in this world and the 90% they don't. So if you want to be in that 10%, it's very important that you do what you need to do to take advantage of all the opportunities, the mentorship, learning as much as you can. So now we're going to go into how you get paid. Okay. The commission is how much work that you do. You don't get paid, you don't automatically sign a contract with somebody and say, okay, I'm going to be your realtor, and then you get paid then. Now, there are fees that you can charge here and there. Like there's a thing called a retainment fee, or I'm sorry, a retainer fee. And that's just like, it comes with different things, but that some people charge it, some people don't. But it's like a contract where it's like, okay, I'm gonna be a realtor, but I charge this for us to continue type thing. Some people charge that $250. Some people do more than that. But the commission is how much work that you do. So if you want to get paid, you need to work your behind off. Because if not, if you don't do the work, you don't get paid. So that's a big one. Did I go over the requirements on how to become a realtor? I can't remember.
Yep.
I did. Okay. The business, we're actually a real estate agent. So yes, you're helping people buy and sell homes. That's the basis, but it's more to it. You have to deal with negotiation. When you have a buyer or a seller, whatever the case is, and they wanna, let's say buyer, and there's a specific price they wanna pay for a home. But the seller is like, no, this is, what we have the purchase price as. This is what the home is priced as. You have to learn how to negotiate. Negotiation is when it's like, okay, let's say Mr. Greg has, I'm sorry, do they call you, what do they call you?
You're fine.
Okay, let's say Mr. Greg has $15, right? Or he's selling something for $15. And I'm like, I don't want to pay no more than $10 for that. You're gonna come in and you're gonna have to negotiate. Like we need to get to a point. If he says, okay, the lowest I'll go is 13, either your job is to be like, okay, you come back to me. He said the lowest he'll go is 13. What can we do? How can we figure out, will you take the 13? And I'm saying no, 12.5. Mr. Greg come back like, okay, fine, I'll take the 12.5. Like, so it's also knowing about talking to people. Communication is a big, big thing. So, and I'm not gonna lie, I was the type of person where I'm not gonna say I didn't like talking, but it was hard for me. Like, if I don't know you, I'm not gonna talk. So I've had to get out of that shell of, being shy and things like that and really, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very business person. Like, and that's something I'm working on now too. When it comes to business and a client or something, I'm automatically wanting to get into the business. But sometimes you have to, even if they're telling you a life story, you have to feed into that. You have to, because a lot of people they want to hear themselves talk about. They want to talk about themselves a lot. So sometimes you got to feed into that type just what they're talking about, life stories, whatever the case is, to really get into business, because relationships are really, really important, and the first impression is really important. You want somebody to remember you so they can refer you out to other people or use you in the future, things like that. So yes, the business negotiation is a big thing. Networking is also a very, very, very big thing. I've had, when you're a realtor, let's say Mr. Greg is a realtor in Mississippi, right? I'm in Florida. He has a client that wants to come to him and like, I want to buy in Florida. How can we get this started? But he's not licensed in Florida. he can refer them out to me, and now I can help them, and we're both, he'll still get his get paid for it. I'll get paid for it. We're both just helping the client. So when you're networking as well, you want to network with other real estate agents so that they can refer you out as well. What's another thing? Not even that, getting in your community. When you're a real estate agent, y'all, yes, you can get clients from social media, Facebook, websites, things like that. But being in your community, talking to people, if you're a person that like working out, go to the gym, you are constantly are at the gym, start talking to those people at the gym. Those people can become your clients. If you're a person that likes going out to eat or something, or you're always at this one restaurant, start talking to the waitress and the
Yeah.
people that are there, because you never know, those could be the people that are going to be your future clients. So it's
People aren't
all
just going
that's
to come find you. You're absolutely right.
right. So that's another big thing too. Networking is I think one of the most important things in real estate, which goes along with the communication and the relationship building and things like that. So yeah.
Well, but I know we want to
Yeah.
talk about the home buying process, but real quick, two
Yes.
things you hit on that I think is important is the communication. Young people have got to get used to talking. If you want to be successful in this business, you've got to be able to walk in a room and introduce yourself. You've got to be
Mm-hmm.
able to speak clearly because 99% of the time, your client is not going to understand the real estate uh,
Hmm.
advanced things. You've got to learn how to explain things in a way they can understand it. And then you've got to listen to what they need. You can waste
Right.
hours of your life showing people homes that they're not going to want because you didn't listen
Mhm.
to their needs, about their price range, about their yard size, about the school district. All of those are things that a successful realtor has to know, and they have to say,
Mhm.
hey, this is what they want. Let me see if this works instead of wasting time
Right.
somewhere else.
And another big one, now that you said that, is problem solving. That's literally what you are as a real estate agent. You're a problem solver. Not even that, but being an entrepreneur in general. You're you're selling a problem, or it's a problem that somebody has and you're solving that problem. Um, So yes, I also want to touch something something else you said. Oh, being young. Okay, y'all. At the time I was 19. I got my real estate license at 19. Just turned 20 in November, so I'm a fresh 20. But I got my real estate license at 19. If you're young wanting to become a real estate agent, y'all, forget how old you are. What's most important is how much you know. It can be someone who's been in the business for 10 years and you know more than them, just based off of, feeding yourself that knowledge. That's why I said it's really important when you do start out to get a mentor. Get somebody who's been in the real estate for 10 years so you can learn from them plus more. And when you're young, we have more energy, we have more excitement. Like we have a lot of more things, not better, but to add on to things that people at 50 years old or that probably don't have. So being young is an advantage. It's not anything to be worried about, or it's not at all. And that's a big thing that I do talk about. And even when it comes to, I'm kind of going off topic, but even when it comes to selling to young people, I talk a lot about different ways that you can invest into real estate other than just buying a house. In this economy nowadays, people are worried about money. So, me knowing that, knowing money is a problem, okay, how can I not necessarily sell to them, but sell to them in a way to where like they can make money. So what I talk about a lot is different ways in real estate you can invest other than just buying a house. House hacking is one thing. It's where you buy, let's say you have a duplex. A duplex is two homes, or two, yeah, basically two, we're just gonna say two homes put together. You live in one part, rent out the other. That's house hacking. You can do that with rooms. If there's 10 rooms in one house, rent out the rooms. So, I talk about that a lot, different ways you can make money, because that's a lot of things that are on people's mind nowadays. And when you also get into real estate, I don't know if y'all do want to do the social media thing, but if you do, finding your niche, what makes you stand out from all these billion other agents in the world, So that's another big thing as well. And then, sorry, let me breathe, I talk fast. And then, yes, and then we can go into the contract and the home buying process while we're
Yeah,
talking
and,
about it.
and and this is what I wanted to hit on too, and I'm glad you're
Yeah.
bringing this up because even if kids aren't interested in becoming a realtor, This is
Mm-hmm.
stuff they need to know because we see all the memes all the time. I cannot wait to have my own. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we see all the time about the growing trend of black home ownership. It is
Mm-hmm.
such a to you, and it's important for young people to understand what's going to be required when it's time
Right.
to buy the home. So,
Right.
and then, like I said, we're going to be about to be talking about contracts here. And something else
Mm-hmm.
that I see with young people is they're worried about certain fees. But I'm telling you, and I think you'll agree, you are absolutely outside of your mind if you buy
Mm-hmm.
any type of property before a home inspection. So, and it
Mm-hmm.
may be $500 to do the home inspection, but you can save
Mm-hmm.
yourself tens of thousands later.
Right. And this is something, matter of fact, I'm going to go over my buyer consultation with you guys. So this is if somebody comes up to me and they're like, hey, Myla, I want to buy a home. First off the bat, y'all don't, I'm not gonna say don't. You can. It's up to you. But I don't work with anybody unless they're pre-approved. Now, y'all are, when you get into real estate, you're going to hear that term pre-approved and you're going to hear pre-qualified. So when you're pre-approved, that's basically you, let's say everybody likes shopping, right? Let's say you're going to a store and you already know how much you can spend. You already know what's in your bank account. So you're not gonna, if you only have $100, you're not gonna spend $200 because you know that you don't have $200. So when you're getting pre-approved, the bank is literally loaning you money and they're telling you, okay, I'm gonna give you $100 to spend on a house. So now you go shopping and for a home and you know that you have that $100 that you could spend. So that's basically what the pre-approval process is, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and real
So I'm
quick, you mentioned the bank.
yeah.
The bank is going to want to see your bank statements. They do not care about your
Hmm.
Cash App card. So you need to
No.
have a relationship with a bank before you ever try to be pre-approved.
Yes, when you go to get pre-approved, they look at your credit. They You need at least 2 years of work history and your income. Yes, that's the oh, and your debt. I'm sorry, your debt. So your debt, 2 years of work history, and your credit. So that's what they look at when you go to buy a home or get pre-approved. I'm sorry. So yes, I don't work with anyone unless they're pre-approved, just because for what? Like, if you can't buy a home, if you don't know how much you're gonna be able to buy a home, you don't have the money to buy a home. It's like basically doing extra work for nothing. So that's one thing. So going off the bat, before pre-approval, I tell people you need to have at least $2,500 in your account. Now, this $2,500, 750, I'm gonna say around, don't quote me exactly, but about 750 is gonna go towards your appraisal. Okay. 500 is gonna go towards your inspection. It ranges, but we're just gonna say 500 is gonna go towards your inspection. I do charge a $250 retainer. That for me, what I charge, it gives you access to the MLS. So that's to where to see where all the homes are at, and then just locking in our relationship. So that's that. When you go to buy a home, if you're using an FHA loan, they charge 3.5%. So that's going to be your down payment. So let's say you have $100,000. 3.5% of that is $3,500, right? So, oh, I'm going off track. Hold on, this is the beginning. Hold on. Your binder deposit. So your binder, when you go to buy a home, um, let's say you're a seller, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna want a binder deposit that literally just says that I'm serious about buying this home. So that's their $1,000. And then yeah, that equals 250, 2,500. I think it does. So that's the beginning process. So if you don't have your appraisal, your inspection, the retainer, and your binder deposit, that's what's important. If you don't have 2,500 at least before buying a home, just get the 2,500 first because there are going to be fees that you need when buying a home. Now, yes, there are the home buying process. There are down payment assistance programs. That's what a lot of people use. This is how we can get you to have to pay $0 at your closing table. But again, there's different fees that go within that. So point blank, period, 2,500 starting out. Okay, so after that, you after the pre-approval, everything you decide whether you wanna what loan you wanna go with. A lot of people use FHA. That's like most of the time you're gonna use FHA loan. After that, let me show you guys the document. Hold on, let me share my screen.
Yeah, and this goes back while you're pulling that up. This goes back to why you need a realtor because you needed somebody that's an expert in this contract language. Because the last thing you want to do is sign something that you don't understand. Because people can say, "Well, they told me this all day long," but if, this is what would hold up in a court. Yeah, and
So
we see it.
yes, so this right here, this is called a buyer broker agreement. So this is the document that you're going to sign. If you're a home buyer or if you're a realtor, this is the document that you're going to sign. Now that's like Florida realtors. It may look different in other states. I have no idea. I just know
It's
about
still
Florida.
going to be very similar. It's very similar
Yes, it's going to
across the
be
board.
very, very similar to this. So this is what it looks like. This is literally just the document that says, okay, I'm going to be your realtor throughout this process. So can y'all see my little pointer here?
Yep.
Okay, so this right here is where, let's say Mr. Greg's name gonna go. Let's say, I'm sorry, this is where my name's gonna go. As the realtor, this is where Mr. Greg's name's gonna go. You know what? I'm lying. I was right. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay, so this is Mr. Greg, broker right here. This is where my name's gonna go. The term, it's from the start day that we say, okay, we're gonna start looking to when we're gonna stop looking. So let's say he says he wants to start today on April 9th, 2026. That's where I will put this. Then right here, I personally do it a year from out just to make sure,
Okay.
we
Hey,
have.
they're asking if you can zoom in a little bit.
Oh, yes, I can. One second. Let me see. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So yes, so this just shows the time frame of when this agreement will start and end. Then you have the property. So the type of property, the location of the property, and then basically all this other information is really just like I said, just assuring that we're gonna have this type of relationship. I charge a $200 retainer fee, a two fifty retainer fee. So that's where this will go right here. Then this is the compensation. Now, like I said, you don't get paid unless you do the work. Right here, a lot of in Florida, I know they do up to 6% of commission. A lot of people do 3%. So let's say the seller wants to do a 6% commission, but they want to give the buyer's broker, so the buyer's realtor, real estate agent, 3%. So that's where this information will go right here. And then really everything else is just more information just when you're the buyer, just really just ensures our relationship, just ensures that, I'm going to be working with you. And then just everything you're going to have to sign and things like that. Now, I do want to show y'all um, can you see this screen?
Yep.
Did it switch? It might not. Okay, it did.
Still
Okay,
see the,
great.
yeah, this is it.
Now, this is the
Executive
listing.
broker listing.
Yes, this is the listing agreement. So this agreement is when I'm a realtor and the seller wants me to sell their property. So the first one was the buyer. I'm helping a buyer find a property. Now this one is I'm helping the seller sell their property. So now this document is a little bit different. What it is still the same right here. It's the time frame of when we're starting, when we're ending. You have now this one you have to be a little bit more specific. You have to put
Yep.
in the property address, find a legal description of the property, personal property including appliances. Personal property is what's going to be included with the property. So what the buyer will be getting when they purchase this. And then pricing terms. So these are the different types of financing. So either someone can pay with cash, a conventional loan, VA. VA is if you're military. So if you're in the military, they give a VA loan, a veteran, veteran. It's veteran something. I just know it's the military. Trust me, it's the military. And then the FHA is that's the one everyone usually uses. And then all this other stuff is important information for the seller. But this is what the document does look like. This is, let me scroll down a little bit. The same thing, compensation, that's where how much you'll be getting paid. Um, yeah, I'm just showing y'all what it looks like.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so let's see. Okay. And that's about, okay. All right.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well,
Matt.
and I think that's great because it's so, you always say don't sign anything before you read it. This is
Mhm.
the absolute most important thing. And it's, little things on there have to be right. That's why you need a good realtor.
Right.
Something misplaced could really cost you a lot of money. Now, I do
Yes.
have
And
some
also,
questions here.
oh,
Oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead, finish your thought. We'll get to our
Also,
questions.
just with the contract, the buyer broker agreement, if you do not sign that agreement, y'all, you will not get paid. So when you have a buyer and you're going to look for a house, you want to make sure that before y'all even start house shopping, you have that agreement signed. Like that is so important because if you don't, you will not get any money and you'll be working for free. So just wanted to put that out there.
Love it. Well, I do have some questions here. I'll get to as many of these as I can. This first one is Demontre Strange. He's in 10th grade, one of our
Mhm.
baseball players, football players, basketball players, all around athlete. I'm sorry, he's in 11th grade. He corrected me. But he asked,
Okay.
do you think you still would have been able to be successful had you gone to college?
Um, yes, I do. I think college is for different thing. I think you need to go to college? No. Am I against college? Not at all. I think that college, depending on what you go for, it helps for different things. That's what I think. For real
I agree.
estate specifically, do you need to go to college? No. So I hope that answers the question. No, you don't need to go to college for real estate. Do I think I still would have been successful? Yes, like I said, the real estate business is all about what you know, all about the work that you want to put in it. So do I think it's needed? No. Do I think I still would have been successful? Yes.
Awesome. I like this one. This is Shavaka Page. He's in 11th grade, one of our
Mhm.
track athletes. And he asked,
Okay.
what's the biggest problem that you see in real estate when it comes to buyers not understanding things, and how do you help them understand it?
The biggest problem is people feel like they can't afford a home. They haven't even talked to a lender or talked to a real estate agent or anything, but it's like this big thing to where people feel like they can't afford. They see things on social media, they see these big homes and everything, and especially Jacksonville is a very affordable place. I don't know if y'all familiar with Jacksonville, Florida, but it's very, very affordable. There's homes that are like $300,000 that look amazing. So it's this big thing of like, I feel like social media of what people see and they think that they can't afford it and they don't even know whether they can or not. So I think that's a big, 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 big problem in the real estate industry and helping them, informing as much as I can on social media. That's literally the big, big thing. I try to inform people as much as I can. And really honestly, just get them talking, get them talking and started so that we can get to that process. So,
Awesome. This is Shania Willis. She's in 10th grade, one of our basketball players and another track athlete. And she asked,
nice.
what goals do you have for the future of your real estate business?
Okay, one, I'm loving the sports. Okay. I'm loving the sports, everyone. And then goals. So I'm looking to get into real estate investing a little bit more. So right now I help with and I help investors. So let's say somebody buys a property for like we're just gonna say $10,000. They put improvements on the property, things like that. Now it's selling for like $400,000. Not
Wow.
literally, something like that. That's basically what I help with now. So I'm looking to eventually become the person that's buying that $10,000 property. So yeah,
Wow.
those are my goals.
I got time for two more. This is Tierney Kirkland. She's in 11th grade, another basketball and track athlete. And
Okay.
she asked, what's the most rewarding part of your career?
Networking, connecting with people. I'm not gonna lie, being able to talk to people, even getting out of my comfort zone. I literally just went on a trip by myself. I want to say in January, didn't know anyone, and I met so many different people, literally just getting out of my comfort zone, talking, getting advice from people. So yes, I think networking and being able to connect with people is very rewarding.
Oh, and I forgot to add, she also wants to be in real estate. So this was a
Okay.
very high interest to her. I got one more.
I-
This is Colton Johnson. He's in 11th grade. And he asked, "What is the most tolling part of being a real estate agent that people might not realize?"
Separating life from the business. That's what I think. I think, especially for me, being young and wanting to be on go, go, go all the time. Because no, real estate is a 25/8 job. It doesn't matter, a lot of people work 9 to 5. So you might have a client that wants to call you 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and you have to take the call because, I mean, if you want the money, then you would take the call. So I think separating like life from the business, like making sure that you're still um doing the things that you need to do yourself, like what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Does that make sense? Like basically just taking care of yourself outside from the work. That's what I think.
Boundaries, boundaries. Now,
Yes,
and
yes.
I want to add on that. That's important because I actually grew up in the home of a realtor. My
Mhm.
mom was president of Jackson Association of Realtors and vice president of MAR here in Mississippi.
Okay.
And I will never forget this. I was 15 years old in high school. We were watching the Super Bowl, and some guy called her about a house. And she
Yep.
goes, "I'm just have to call him tomorrow." So it really is very important because it is very easy to get lost in the shuffle. But at the same time, it allows you to have a family. You can
Hmm.
schedule things around. She was able to pick us up from school most days.
Right.
But that she would show houses in the afternoon. She would show on Saturday. So it really is a way that you can balance your own schedule. Now we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Very informative, and I know a lot of them had a lot of questions about this, but.
Hmm.
A couple things before we go. First of all, we got to plug your social medias. Myla.mims on Instagram, TikTok, all types of great content, not only about your journey, but also some real estate content. And I always tell these kids, find something positive. Find somebody like yourself. You're not on there twerking, acting stupid. You're giving things
Right.
people that, you're giving them things that they can use. Because you mentioned
Right.
find ways that you can educate yourself. You do a great job of that, and you're not much older than these kids. So
Hmm.
Mila.mims on Instagram, you've got over 25,000 followers, millions of views. Encourage everybody to go and follow. I'm a follower, so encourage everybody to do that. Now, the last thing before we go is look, you just said yourself, you graduated from high school 2024, so less
Hmm.
than 2 years ago. But yet
Hmm.
you've already built a business that is just crushing it there in North Florida. So as these kids get ready to make decisions, look, I've got a room full of black kids in here with me today. It obviously can be done. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you think your talents are. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter what your parents did or didn't do. You don't necessarily have to go the route that society says you have to take. There's
Right.
opportunity here and there's a lot of money to be made here. So as these kids start making decisions on what they want to do, why should they really consider this path or a similar path to really make a great life for themselves and their families?
I think that real estate is very rewarding in itself. Not only the job, but you learn a lot. You learn a lot of financial literacy. You learn how to help people. And even if it's not like the thing you want to do forever, it's still something to do. It's something that you don't have to go to college for. It's something that you have to put a lot of work into it, but it's a lot of dedication. So I think, especially being young, not wanting to go to college, there's a lot of different options that you guys can take, and I definitely think that real estate is a very rewarding one. So I definitely recommend looking into it, even if you're like, I don't really want to do that. Just look into it, learn about it. Look on TikTok, YouTube, watch a couple videos about it. Look at day in the lives of what real estate agents actually do. So,
That and you've got plenty of content they can see. So again, we thank you
yes.
so much for joining us. Look for an email from me. I got to get you and Dr. McGuire connected there in Jacksonville. We
Okay.
thank you so much for joining us. Myla Mims, all the way from Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
today.
Thank you. Have
I
a
talk
good
to you
day,
soon,
everyone.
buddy. See ya.